पर्सपेक्टिव में खुशामदीद। इससे पहले जो भी मैंने किए वो मोनोलॉग्स टाइप के थे। पर्सपेक्टिव का जो एक आइडिया था, जिन साहब ने, जिस पर्सनालिटी ने मुझे इनकरेज किया इसके लिए, आई एम वेरी हैप्पी आज वो हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं। आपका इंट्रोडक्शन थोड़ी देर में इनसे कराएंगे। A person who's not only an amazing professional, a banker, he's worked in government sector also, public sector also. Primary उनकी introduction banker के तौर पे ही है. For a lot of people, including myself, a mentor, a dear friend, and somebody, and for the masses, बहुत सारे लोगों के लिए the miracle man. So we have Mr. Zafar Masud with us today. Zafar bhai, thank you so much for being with us today.
My pleasure.
It's an honor. We've been thinking about this, and you are the one who actually gave me this idea and initiated that I should do something about this. So welcome again. आपसे इतनी सारी बातें हैं करने की, तो मैं ये चाहूँगा कि I will leave it to you. What is the first pressing thing that you would want to talk about? तो आजकल की इकोनॉमी के हालात हैं, तो you know, जिस चीज़ से हम गुजर रहे हैं आपसे ज़्यादा बेहतर कौन समझता है, with your experience and hands-on into this. So what would you like to talk about first, as we were discussing earlier?
एक तो अच्छा, you are doing a brilliant job. I am a big fan of perspective, and you know the way you explain things to general public is the need of the hour. And I start out my comments today with the fact that you know इतना pessimism हमारे सोसाइटी में इस वक्त हुआ हुआ है, इतनी नेगेटिविटी हुई हुई है हमारे पास सोसाइटी में, that you know we need to be a bit more relaxed about it.
Right.
We need to be much more
Cautiously optimistic.
Cautiously optimistic, perhaps is the right word.
Yes.
We are not the only ones. The world is going through a transitionary phase.
That's correct.
Both politically and economically. And we happen to be just got in the whirlwind. We just happen to be in the midst of
You're right.
this transition, where our own internal transition is also taking place.
That's a double whammy.
It's double whammy. And that's kind of complicated the matter even
That's
more.
right.
But these things happened, and you know one has to be, as a nation, we need to be optimistic about it, that we will weather the storm. We will.
This too shall
get
pass.
over this too shall pass.
That's
And,
right.
You know, with this spirit, I would say that the government has been pulled off the standby agreement with the IMF. It's a big deal.
Which reminds me, sorry to interject, आपने एक दो हफ्ते पहले जब ये great debate हो रही थी on a channel, you were perhaps the only one who said कि IMF के साथ हो जाएगा, and we were all surprised to see that. Why are you so confident about it? Why were you so confident?
Yeah,
Why?
so you know, it's quite interesting. Actually, I didn't say that in so many words.
Yeah.
But because it was recorded piece and it wasn't a live.
Ji, you were traveling at
comment,
that time. Ji.
So they kind of edited in a way that it gave the impression as if I said that it would happen. What I had said then was that you look, I am quite optimistic that it would happen. And my optimism coming from the fact that there is a resolve on both the sides.
Okay.
IMF, as well as you know on the government of Pakistan side, that something happens before 30th of June. But there is also a resolution. There is also consensus that the next program is required because this program won't be enough.
That's right.
Finishing on 30th of June, and that's exactly what happened in hindsight. You know, everybody realized that the new program is required. Much more amount of money is required. Not just that $1.1 billion which was supposed to come through in the after the ninth review. Even if the 9th and 10th were lumped together, it would have been 1.8 billion. So Pakistan needed much more, a larger amount of money.
That's correct.
To sail through the next 9 months that are important. And why those 9 months are important? Because, you know, in the clear sense of the word, default means that you cannot repay, or there is no provision exists to profile, restructure, or the principal and interest you can't pay. You have to pay that and meet your contractual obligation. That particular situation is arising in April 2024 when the bond falls due.
Right. Hence that 9 month. Oh, okay. ये आपने आज आर्टिकल भी आपका छपा है,
That's
आई
right.
बिलीव ट्रिब्यून में, एंड यू हैव
Yeah, I
मेंशन्ड
just wanted to educate
about
people.
that.
People are using this very casually, the word of default and
जी जी,
restructuring.
टेक्निकल डिफॉल्ट हो गया और ये हो गया, अगेन टॉक अबाउट डूम एंड ग्लूम, तो
Yes.
प्लीज
You see, the fact of the matter is that, this technical default, the definition varies from you and me and to the third party, to any third person. Um, what you believe is a technical default, I may not believe it's a technical
Right.
default, or the third party may believe that it's a technical default. So it's in this kind of situation, it's always better that one would remain, um, you know,
within the boundaries of the
confined to-
definition of IMF and the international lenders. Yeah,
confined to what default really means.
Right.
And fact of the matter is, going strictly by the definition, until you call a default,
oh yes,
formally
yes, yes.
call a default, it's not a default,
Oh,
please. So for
yes.
God's sakes, people also understand other people's problems, and there is always leeway available. But for some odd reason, our people are just not willing to give the leeway to us, to themselves. And I think we are too harsh with us, to be honest with you.
Yeah, yeah. I think political climate and that polarization also plays a role there at this point in time, because we are too close to the next elections and all that. Probably इस वजह से भी था. But Zafar भाई, एक important aspect, while we all talk about this default और technical default और कर गए हैं फलाना, अब बात हो रही है कि जी हम restructuring कर रहे हैं और reprofiling कर रहे हैं. आम आदमी के लिए ये चीज़ें भी समझना मुश्किल है. If you can just
Yeah, very quickly.
Quickly.
I mean, in the larger scheme of things, there are 3 or 4 terminologies which are being interchangeably used. So restructuring, reprofiling, rearrangement is the new word coined now.
अच्छा.
Rescheduling is another one. So broadly speaking, rescheduling and rearrangement is a broader term, which could mean restructuring, which could mean reprofiling.
Okay.
Now, what does restructuring and reprofiling mean? Restructuring means that, it's in the pure sense of the word again, right after the definition, where there is the existing obligation has been restructured in a way, or the terms have been revised in such a way that there is a material alteration in those terms and conditions.
Okay.
So either the interest rates have been reduced and the tenor has been reduced, or a combination of both, and there could be haircuts. Generally, when you talk about restructuring, haircut, explicit haircut is there. So
Oh, really?
if you have to owe $100, then you ask for a haircut of, let's say, $10.
Which means write off हमारे ज़बान में जो.
Write off is the other word.
Okay.
So haircut or write off
जी.
again is something interchangeably.
कि प्रिंसिपल का इतना अमाउंट हम नहीं दे सकते, उसको आप माफ कर दीजिए, या डेफर कर,
इंटरेस्ट को माफ कर,
या इंटरेस्ट माफ कर दे.
वो भी उसी जुमरे में.
वेवर. हाँ.
So in that sense, जो आपका
रिस्ट्रक्चरिंग होती है,
restructuring जो है वो उस सेंस में जहाँ alter करते हैं आप
मटेरियल टर्म्स, कमर्शियल टर्म्स
को change
ओके
करते हैं.
ओके.
On the other hand, reprofiling is done when you essentially, there is no material changes in the terms
Okay.
and conditions. You only stretch the tenor
ओके ओके.
in such a way that there could be implied haircut, which means that if the interest rate on that restructured debt is lower than the inflation rate, then it would be calculated as a
Right.
haircut
Right.
on the net present value basis.
पर नॉमिनल वैल्यू में वो सेम होगा.
वो was the same thing.
ओके ओके.
और इसमें जो एक और
No, wait, sorry. इसमें to explain for our audience, how do you compare this with Sri Lanka? What happened there? Was that a
मैं उस पे भी आता हूँ. एक चीज़ मैं और ज़रा एक्सप्लेन कर दूँ यहाँ पर कि जो essentially हमारे पास 4 किस्म के डेट होते हैं, मतलब 3 किस्म के हैं, एक को आप 3A और 3B भी कह सकते हैं. So it's multilateral, it's bilateral, and then it's multilateral जब मैं कहता हूँ उसमें IMF भी आ जाता है, and then we have commercial debt.
Okay.
Commercial debt के अंदर 2 किस्म के डेट होते हैं, कमर्शियल बैंक से, और एक जो है वो है जो कमर्शियल पेपर है, जिस तरह यूरो बॉन्ड और सकूक है, जिसमें आपने
सॉवरेन इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स जी.
Now in that sense, जो आपका एक्सटर्नल डेट है, जो मल्टीलैटरल का एक्सटर्नल डेट है, वो रीफाइनेंस वो रीप्रोफाइल नहीं होता और ना वो रीस्ट्रक्चर होता है. उसको आपको उसको वो रीफाइनेंस कर देते हैं. Essentially वो रीफाइनेंसिंग मीन्स
sort of roll over जो करते हैं कि आपने
रोल
मुझे
ओवर तो हो ही जाता है,
हाँ
बट वो
अच्छा
लॉन्गर
refund
पीरियड टाइम के लिए भी रोल ओवर कर सकते हैं. नहीं नहीं, वो रोल ओवर नहीं होता. वो एक्चुअली होता क्या है कि आपको वो पैसे आप उनको वापस करते हैं
और
और
वो
फिर वो
आपको
आपको
वापस
दोबारा
पैसे
पैसे दे देते हैं.
अच्छा
जिस तरह अभी हमने चाइनीज बैंक्स के केस में भी देखा.
इसमें कोई डिफरेंशियल भी होता है आपने मुझे 1 अरब रुपए देने हैं लेकिन आगे की और ज़रूरत है या पे इंटरेस्ट का भी देना है तो आपको 1 अरब की जगह मैं 1.2 बिलियन दे दूंगा
राइट.
और वो 1 बिलियन आप मुझे वापस कर देंगे तो आपको पास इनहेंस जो इंक्रीमेंटल होगा वो थोड़ा सा अमाउंट मिल जाएगा. ऐसे भी
बिल्कुल
हुआ
होता
है
है, और अभी
एग्जाम्पल्स में
हमारा चाइनीज बैंक के साथ यही हुआ.
यही हुआ है.
तो वी नीड टू अप्रिशिएट कि मल्टीलैटरल्स में व्हाइल दे कांट डू रीस्ट्रक्चरिंग रीप्रोफाइलिंग, बट दे
ओके
कैन डू रीफाइनेंसिंग इन दिस सेंस कि उसका जो नेट इफेक्ट है वो वही आता है जो रीप्रोफाइलिंग का होता है. Bilaterals are open to all sorts of restructuring, but there is an increasing realization and requirement that there shouldn't be restructuring, there should be reprofiling. And then last one is the commercial
euro
side, where
bonds and
the
sukuks
commercial banks also either do the refinancing or reprofile. Most of the cases they do the financing because they have their own challenges of risk ratings and approvals internally. If they restructure, if they reprofile the account, any loan, then for them they have to downgrade it. They have to then take some kind of provision at their ends as well, and also at times they become they become constrained to give further
अच्छा
support.
अच्छा
So what they generally do is you pay back the money in 2 weeks time, they'll return the money. Refinancing हो जाएगी आपका.
अच्छा अच्छा अच्छा
बॉन्ड एंड सकूक नहीं होते, एंड उसके अंदर आपको आप रीफाइनेंसिंग इस तरह कर सकते हैं कि आप नया बॉन्ड इशू कर दें.
दैट्स राइट.
इस वक्त जो हमारी कैपिटल मार्केट्स की ग्लोबल पोजीशन है उसके अंदर यूरो बॉन्ड करना गालिबन जरा थोड़ा सा चैलेंज है.
इंटरेस्ट रेट्स है कंट्री रेटिंग है कैपेसिटी ऑफ लेंडर्स है ये सब चीज़ें
Globally,
कम
there is a
ग्लोबली
gloom
मार्केट
in the gloom. It's not just Pakistan, but any country to go to the capital market raise funding at this point in time may be a challenge.
ज़ोहैब भाई आपने बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज़ बोली है बिकॉज अब इंटरनेशनली भी जो आपने शुरू में बताया था वी आर गोइंग थ्रू अ कमोडिटी सुपर साइकिल. इंटरेस्ट रेट सारी दुनिया में बढ़े हुए हैं. देयर इज़ stagflation in a lot of economies including ours. Europe is not doing that great. Internal consumption कम है. Post COVID work from home का तो the world is resetting.
Yeah.
Plus एक और आपने important चीज़ जो शुरू में बोली थी just want to add one thing और आपको याद होगा ये एक साइकिल होती है 10 साल की. मैं आपसे इस पर एक ज़िमनी सवाल भी करूँगा. आपको याद होगा 2013 में भी इंटरेस्ट रेट्स जो हमारे थे या उसके बाद कम आते रहे. आप मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी कमेटी में रहे. यू वर ऑन द बोर्ड ऑफ स्टेट बैंक ऑफ पाकिस्तान. इंडिपेंडेंट बॉडी है वो सब करते थे. 2013 में भी 3 अरब डॉलर से कम के हमारे रिजर्व्स थे. 3.25 पे थे जब हमने बाद में वो सुकूक किए थे. उस वक्त भी हुकूमत चेंज हो रही थी. नाउ 2023 सेम सिचुएशन. सो आई जस्ट ड्रू दैट पार्लेंस. उसके बाद इंटरेस्ट रेट्स बहुत तेज़ी से कम आए थे जिससे बहुत ग्रोथ भी हुई थी और कम. जस्ट अ क्विक वर्ड ऑन दैट. हाउ डू यू because I know for a fact आप हमेशा you're not an advocate of high interest rate scenario. Why is that? और उसका जो सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट चीज़ जो मैंने आपके आर्टिकल्स में भी देखा है और अब हम बात करते रहते आपका कहना ये है कि इन्फ्लेशन को कंट्रोल करने के लिए मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी इज़ नॉट द राइट टूल. इट इज़ द फिस्कल मेजर्स. So these two things I would like to have your word.
And to answer your earlier question also on the Sri Lanka, Zambia,
Yes,
Zimbabwe,
yes, that also.
Zambia and Ghana, there is essentially reprofiling. There is an implied 40%ish, in some cases. For example, in case of Zambia, I think it's
Haircut.
40%. Haircut is implied haircut.
Okay.
And this got done under the DSSI of the UN. So the similar, the reprofiling is something which is acceptable globally. And another fact is that all the emerging markets, unfortunately, are in the market and asking for restructuring. Just to, as I put that in my article today as well, 38 countries have been identified as a potential risk for potential sovereign risk.
Oh really? 38?
By the World Bank. And in that situation we are not the only one. It's the globe which is And this is perhaps also a reason why there has been a delay with IMF in talking further with our bilateral lenders, particularly China, which is almost 35%, including the Chinese banks,
That's correct.
of our external debt. That it is taking some more time, and थोड़ी सी agitation लोगों में आ रही थी कि जी क्यों नहीं हो रहा,
जी,
क्या हो रहा
जी.
है. To be fair, I think वो उनका मसला इस वक्त जो है वो सिर्फ पाकिस्तान नहीं है, उनके दरवाजे पे तकरीबन पूरा इमर्जिंग
हाँ,
मार्केट
that's right.
नॉक कर रहा है. And they have their own priorities also, हर एक की. Pakistan is perhaps, we need to realize कि हमारा अपना मसला ज़रूर होगा.
So, most of these countries are Asia, Africa, Eastern Europe, 38 countries जो आप बता रही हैं, यही इन्हीं रीजन में ज़्यादातर वो countries हैं. Coming back to my interest rate का.
Interest rate का situation ये है ऐसा कि, if you look at, मैं अक्सर ये कहता हूँ कि, we are a victim of our own narrative. So, हमने हमेशा ये एडवोकेट किया है कि जो इंटरेस्ट रेट्स हैं वो हेडलाइन इन्फ्लेशन के साथ टैक होनी चाहिए. फैक्ट ऑफ द मैटर ये है कि ऑल्दो आई एक्सेप्ट दिस फैक्ट
Theoretically, in bookish